In the United States Constitution, three branches of government were designed to balance each other: executive, legislative, and judicial. But what happens when one branch begins to tower over the rest, unchecked and unchallenged? Under President Donald Trump, critics argue that the delicate system of checks and balances is being dismantled in real time. From military operations launched without congressional approval, to funding decisions that ignore bipartisan laws, to intelligence oversight blocked at the door, Trump has taken bold steps to consolidate executive power. Yet, perhaps the most striking element isn't Trump's ambition. It's the silence, even applause, from many Republicans in Congress, historically fierce defenders of legislative authority. The question now reverberating across Washington is simple. Is Congress ceding its constitutional role, and if so, what are the consequences for American democracy? This is the story of how Trump is trampling Congress's power, why so few in his party are resisting, and what it means for the future of American governance. Chapter 1: The Constitutional Tug of War. The U.S. Constitution is explicit. Congress makes the laws, controls the purse, and holds the power to declare war. The president enforces those laws and serves as commander-in-chief. But since the earliest days of the Republic, presidents have tested those limits. From Abraham Lincoln's suspension of habeas corpus during the Civil War to Franklin Roosevelt's sweeping wartime powers, the balance between the executive and legislative branches has always been in flux. In modern times, this tug of war has centered largely on foreign policy and military action. Every president since Harry Truman has stretched their authority to act abroad without formal declarations of war. Trump's actions, however, go further. He has not only exercised military power without approval, but also openly disregarded congressional prerogatives in spending, oversight, and agency leadership. The issue is not merely presidential ambition, it is Congress's apparent willingness to step aside. Chapter 2: Military Operations Without Congress. One of the clearest examples came off the coast of Venezuela. The Trump administration, led by Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth and Secretary of State Marco Rubio, announced military strikes against alleged drug cartel members operating from boats. The strikes were carried out without notifying Congress, without authorization, and without legal justification under existing war powers legislation. Critics immediately pointed out that no president has the authority to order airstrikes outside U.S. waters without congressional approval. Senator Chris Murphy of Connecticut called the action beyond illegal, warning that Trump was setting a precedent of unilateral war-making. Yet, congressional Republicans, historically protective of their war powers authority, offered little pushback. The silence was as telling as the action itself. Chapter 3: A Campaign Against Oversight. Oversight has long been one of Congress's most potent tools. Lawmakers demand briefings, conduct hearings, and visit military and intelligence facilities to ensure accountability. But under Trump, these powers have been steadily eroded. When Senator Mark Warner, the senior Democrat on the Senate Intelligence Committee, attempted to visit the National Geospatial Intelligence Agency, the Pentagon barred him. Officials claimed that only bipartisan visits would be permitted, a requirement lawmakers said was unprecedented. Warner asked bitterly, "Is congressional oversight dead?" At the same time, Trump has purged seasoned intelligence officials and limited access to classified assessments on adversaries like Iran. With intelligence agencies already operating in secrecy, congressional oversight is the only public safeguard. Stripping it away leaves immense power in the hands of the executive branch. Chapter 4: Undermining the Power of the Purse. If there is one power Congress has always defended fiercely, it is control over the federal budget. The Constitution gives lawmakers the exclusive right to appropriate funds. But Trump has chipped away at this authority too. The White House informed Congress that it planned to rescind nearly $5 billion in foreign aid funds, bypassing lawmakers entirely. Senator Lisa Murkowski of Alaska warned, "Congress alone bears the constitutional responsibility for funding our government." Senator Susan Collins, chair of the Appropriations Committee, called the move a clear violation of the law. Yet, despite their words, Republicans have failed to take concrete action to stop the maneuver. The power of the purse, once non-negotiable, is slipping away. Chapter 5. The Purge of Confirmed Officials. In recent weeks, Trump fired a string of leaders who had only just been confirmed by the Senate, from the Centers for Disease Control to the Internal Revenue Service to the Federal Reserve. In one striking case, Robert F. Kennedy Jr., the newly installed health secretary, dismissed the CDC director only a month after senators had confirmed her. He then introduced changes to vaccine policy that directly contradicted promises he had made during his confirmation hearing. Senator Peter Welch of Vermont lamented, "We have confirmed a vaccine denier. On tariffs, we've given up our constitutional responsibility. On appropriations, we're bending the knee." Even when Republican leaders expressed frustration, it was often procedural. Senator John Thune asked, "We confirm these people, we go through a lot of work to get them confirmed, and they're in office a month?" But no formal rebuke followed. Chapter 6. The GOP's Silence and Applause. Why has Congress allowed its authority to be diminished? For Democrats, the answer is clear. Republicans have chosen loyalty to Trump over loyalty to the institution of Congress itself. Representative Jason Crow of Colorado put it bluntly, "The true story is that Republicans in Congress have capitulated and are not pushing back to assert authority. Republicans counter that Trump is simply using his executive authority to bring the federal bureaucracy under control. To them, the firings and funding battles are not abuses of power, but long overdue corrections. A few have raised concerns, but most remain quiet or openly supportive. This silence is not just passivity. In some cases, it is complicity, giving Trump space to reshape the balance of power between branches of government." Chapter 7. National Security in the Shadows. Perhaps most alarming are the revelations of secret military and intelligence operations conducted without congressional knowledge. The New York Times reported that in 2019, Trump authorized a risky mission into North Korea to plant a listening device. The mission failed, cost several North Korean lives, and was never disclosed to Congress. Lawmakers only learned of it years later under the Biden administration. Such secrecy is extraordinary. Even failed or controversial operations have historically been briefed to congressional intelligence committees. By withholding information, Trump effectively removed the only check on covert operations. As Representative Crow remarked, "There is no situation in which an operation of this magnitude should be conducted without Congress knowing." It's beyond absurd, Chapter 8, dismantling agencies created by Congress. Trump's approach has not been limited to ignoring oversight or bypassing funding laws. His administration has also dismantled entire agencies created by Congress. The U.S. Agency for International Development, responsible for distributing billions in foreign aid, was eliminated. Aid programs worldwide were gutted, undermining American influence abroad. In the intelligence world, Tulsi Gabbard, Trump's Director of National Intelligence, shrank the Foreign Malign Influence Center, effectively dissolving a body created to counter foreign election interference. This office had played a key role in the 2020 election by warning of Russian propaganda. Its dismantling was seen by many as a deliberate effort to weaken safeguards against disinformation. Representative Raja Krishnamurthy warned, "The founders created checks and balances to prevent an all-powerful executive." That premise is being turned on its head. Chapter 9. The Broader Historical Shift. Presidents have long sought to expand executive power. From Richard Nixon's battles with Congress to George W. Bush's post-9/11 national security state, the trend has been consistent. What makes the Trump era distinct is the degree of disdain shown for congressional authority, paired with congressional leaders' unwillingness to resist. Historically, even when presidents tested the limits, Congress pushed back. Watergate forced Nixon to resign. Iran-Contra prompted sweeping oversight reforms. But today, the guardrails appear weaker. Trump has normalized behavior that would once have triggered bipartisan outrage. By failing to respond decisively, Republicans risk setting precedents that will endure far beyond Trump's presidency. Future presidents of either party may inherit expanded powers that are difficult to reverse. Chapter 10. Where does this end? Senator Warner's question still hangs heavy over Washington. Is congressional oversight dead? If Congress continues to defer, the United States risks transforming its constitutional system. Instead of three co-equal branches, it could drift toward a model where the president wields unchecked power. Military action without approval, spending without authorization, intelligence without oversight. These are not small changes. They cut to the core of American democracy. Critics warn that if Congress cedes its role, the American people lose their voice. The legislative branch was designed to be the closest to the citizens, the place where representatives reflect the will of the people. If that power is surrendered, the balance shifts irrevocably. The story of Trump and Congress is not just about one man's ambition. It is about the willingness of a political party to prioritize loyalty over law, and the risk that future leaders will inherit powers that the founders never intended. President Trump's erosion of congressional authority may be the most consequential legacy of his presidency. It raises fundamental questions about the future of American governance. Who holds the purse strings? Who oversees the military? Who decides when the executive has gone too far? For now, the answers remain unsettled. But history tells us that power, once surrendered, is rarely reclaimed. So, what do you think? Has Congress already lost its role as a co-equal branch of government? Or can lawmakers still reclaim their constitutional powers? Let us know in the comments below. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more in-depth documentaries that uncover the battles shaping democracy itself.